Before we begin, thank you very much to Jalopy, the main character of the Transformers that everyone has heard of, even you, for joining the Patreon campaign. I still have no idea what Jalopy is supposed to be, or why it warrants a place in an upcoming toy line, but here we are. This is just the fate that we have to work with. So, thank you very much for the contribution. Thank you everyone who supports the channel in whatever way that you can. I understand it's tight for a lot of people, but hitting like, hitting subscribe, leaving a comment is absolutely free. Or you can go over to the Magnetar channel and drop a Prime sub there if you have Amazon Prime and haven't done so already. That's another free way of supporting the stream and the channel. So, we had another big Pulse reveal. It's been a hot minute since we had a fan stream for Transformers, and yet here we are. Now, the trick to this one is we kind of already knew. All this stuff dropped because it accidentally leaked from Amazon France, I believe, the night before. So we pretty much saw everything. In fact, I had recorded the news roundup a few hours prior, and then when I posted it, as I was posting it, that's when the leaks were dropping. So I had to post a message like, hey, that stuff wasn't out yet. And if it was, this would have been an hour-long news roundup, because that's already a lot on top of a very busy news week as it was. So let's talk about it now. So we're just going to kind of recap all the stuff they said. I did watch the video to take in a little bit of their input. Unfortunately, not as much as I was hoping for. So this is mostly just going to be us going through all the new toy reveals on our own and just formulating our own thoughts and opinions. I know that's a scary thing to do online, but here we go. First off, Fireflight. This one, okay, the Aerialbots are both retools. This should come as no surprise. Aerialbots all kind of feel the same no matter what, so it does not surprise me that we're only getting one arm mold, one leg mold, and they're just retooling them to have the unique designs the characters are known for. He doesn't look bad, he just looks about as exciting as any of the other Aerialbots, which in my opinion is not terribly exciting, but it's what the team's supposed to do. So it's whatever it is. So I'm not thrilled, but it is exactly what it's supposed to be. Jet mode looks fine, though this is where like being a heavy retool does some damage, because like I feel like Slingshot's vehicle mode does have a little bit of uniqueness because of that like more blocky front end, the intakes that are visible on the sides of the cockpit. I feel like this is doing a little bit of disservice to Fireflight, but only because like I think Slingshot's design comes through a lot in the vehicle mode, and I shouldn't be getting that vibe, but here we are. Oh well. Well. It'll make a nice symmetrical limb. There's that. And then we also have... It's where I start getting names mixed up. Skydive, I'm going with. So, again, it's a retool. And I was kind of like cold on this, on the original version of this mold, because I thought it was just very typical. The Slingshot mold did a few things that I actually thought, okay, that's actually kind of fun. That's actually a little bit different than I was expecting. This one pretty much is just bog standard, exactly what I was expecting out of a modern Aerialbot. You can see that in the jet mode with the arms just kind of tucked in underneath the wings. Yeah, like, I'm not terribly impressed by these individually. You're getting them for the complete set, and you're getting them for Superion, and I'm kind of in the same boat on that one. I'm getting these because of Superion. And speaking of, Superion actually made his very first official appearance completed. Not that you can tell in the legs. This was mostly just... They could have just revealed Fireflight and said, this is what the complete one looks like. Because, yeah, like... The buddies on the back are doing absolutely nothing. If anything, it's like, even from this angle, you can see how far they stick out. Like, I really don't like that. That's super weird. Now, the overall vision of Superion doesn't look bad. You know, if you're going for cartoon accurate, it does look better than the Combiner War version. I will give it that. And I'm not bothered by the framework engineering. I understand that it lets them create some really solid, strong joints that still have, like, modern posability, despite the combination. It's just not as fun to combine, that's all. You know, so it's... pick your poison. It's whichever one you personally prefer. So, whatever. It's not a bad-looking set altogether. I'm just not terribly excited by it. But then again, I'm not excited by Aerialbots at any point, because they're all just kind of same-ish. It's whatever. I'm still getting them. I'm still completing the set because I like my combiners. And, you know, the Stunicons need someone to punch. Alright. Let's move on to some other Deluxe releases. We're going to go up in scale, by the way. And that leads us into Vannon, our Deluxe Insecticon. This is wild. That such an obscure nothing of a character like G1 Venom is getting a brand new mold. Like, this is not a retool or remold. All of the other Deluxe Insecticons are retools and remolds. This Vannon gets to be his own thing, which is a little unfair. He doesn't look bad. Like, it's the same bright orange and green he always is. Like, he's very pumpkin, very, you know, like, you know, kind of like quasi Halloween vibes to him, I think. But he doesn't look bad. And then we have the cicada mode, which looks fine. You know, nothing really wrong here. He does look like he's going to be a little bit simple to transform, but also I don't really know what else you would do with him. Like, he's really just his original G1 form plus articulation, which is what they do with a lot of those bots that are based on other companies' molds, like the ones that they licensed. They did that with Roadbuster, and they did that with Whirl. Does not surprise me. They would do the same thing with Venom/Vannon. Looks fine. It does make me wonder what else they're going to use this mold for, because you know they're not going to do such an obscure character as a general release if they didn't have other ideas for that mold. So I'm thinking, like, is this where Kranix goes? Because Kranix is also kind of like a really weird, like weird-headed body, like character, and like this might be like if you'd flip him around the other way, you get like the spaceship mode he was supposed to have. I don't know. I feel like whatever we get out of this one, retool-wise, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be crazy what they do to re-engineer this into somebody else. We will see, but still, cool that the Deluxe Insecticons are getting completed, because, like, I genuinely did not expect that team of all teams to get a whole new set of toys. Now I gotta dig out all three of the other ones to figure out where they're gonna go. This is the Deluxe that everyone was talking about. This one is wild. So, we finally got to see Micronus Prime. And this is not what we expected, because this doesn't really look the part, does it? It's bulkier, and frankly, it looks a lot more basic than past Transformers do. You know, it looks like his articulation is kind of stunted and not really all there. And then we find out why. Because for a deluxe size, the engineering on this guy is absolute insanity. Micronus is still a minicon and is actually based on his RID 2015 appearance. Like all the other of the 13, his appearance is based on his most prominent appearance, and that was in Robots in Disguise 2015. Yeah, that's actually super cool. And then, yeah, the bulk of the robot turns into this, like, really cool one-wheeled bike, which is kind of crazy. So, we don't really get a good, like, stock art of how this toy actually works. We can see the back of the box, which gives us the idea. So, Micronus himself transforms into essentially a mini-con plate, which is basically like just like the disc minicon shape that all of those had in RID 2015, and that forms like the middle bulk of the Micronus Prime armor that's the full deluxe size bot. It works very much like a Pretender, and if this is if I would bet money on this absolutely feels like a prototype run for what they could potentially do to get Pretenders made. That was the first thought of mine. It's like, if this works at deluxe size, then at Voyager or leader size, they could do crazy things with stuff like this. And then I start to think even more, like, there's a really wild idea in my head of, like, what if this is how they do, like, Soundwave cassettes later on? Don't get me wrong. So, like, 86 Soundwaves on the way. How do you get cassettes out for them? So, what if you had tech like this? But it's, you know, and then like the cassette or disc or whatever Soundwave's using next time we see him. What if they all had like a big Pretender body like this? So like you have like a Ravage that is a cassette Ravage and it transforms just like Micronus here. But he also comes with this deluxe body that looks like Alternator Ravage or Beast Wars Ravage and has, you know, an actual transformation to him and functions like as an actual deluxe figure. But he has the smaller one that you can pop out and interact with Soundwave. That way you get both versions of Ravage. And a lot of them have that. Ratbat obviously has a Senator form. Laserbeak and Buzzsaw, they have their BotCon forms, the dive bomb based. You could get away with this. And I would be absolutely down for it. I have no idea who this is going to be repainted or retooled into. This is wild. This is the first like mono wheel motorcycle transformer that I'm aware of. This is cool and chaos, and I don't know what they're going to do with it later, but I'm super excited about it. Also, this is part Weaponizer 2. Oh, by the way, this is Weaponizer 2. Oh, and by the way, the wheels, the mono wheel that actually does roll in vehicle mode is his legs. I don't know how that engineering's possible, but they did it. This is crazy. This toy is crazy. Like, it's the most, like, character-wise, it's the most nothing of the entire thing because so much of it's made up. But I love it. And I'm super excited for this one. Out of all of them, I think this is the coolest one in the whole list. Alright, moving up to Voyager. Flatline. Now, when this was in the listings, I thought, wow, that's a really deep cut. That's a really obscure character. Like, what are you actually going to do with Flatline? And then, yeah, like, when they showed this one, I went, oh, yeah, Red Alert retool. That's actually a lot more obvious than I thought. Now, Flatline never had an Earth mode, which this feels like Flatline with an Earth mode. But really, this kind of feels like a Generations level type character of, like, this kind of fits the shape. This kind of fits the shape, but not really. But we're going to go with it because it's the closest we got. This one kind of screams of, we needed to retool Red Alert into somebody, but we don't know who. So this is what we got. It's like, because like Red Alert's repaint options from Armada are his Power Links colors, which it looks like they're going to do as a Minicon pack, like they did Hotshot. Or the weird Energon Prowl repaint that happened. That one's probably not going to happen either. Yeah, this is weird. This is such a weird idea. But, okay. But everyone's takeaway from it, and mine is too, who cares? It looks really, really cool. Like, he just looks really, really cool. Obviously, you've seen my branding colors. Black and red don't miss. You know, he looks absolutely sick. And I like how, like, the heartbeat line all across the side really is flatlining. Yeah, and then he still gets the weapon gimmickry, and, like, those weapons all look really good with him. Like, this is cool. Like, this is what you need to do. Is like, if it's a nothing character that you're going to retool someone into, make sure it's a really cool looking nothing character. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for this one. Like, I shouldn't be, but I am. Also, on stream, they described him as Evil Decepticon, which is what I know. They have to brand him as something, so, like, that's just what they... What am I hitting? I'm sorry, my foot's hitting something. Okay. Like, they had to brand him as a Decepticon because that's just how it goes. In the comic books, he spends most of the time neutral. Like, he takes the Hippocratic Oath seriously. Like, he will heal anyone, Autobot, Decepticon, otherwise. He just wants to help people. But he does come across Decepticon. He originally carried Decepticon ideals, so there you go. And then we have another Prime, and this one is our official reveal of Alpha Trion. And taking all of us by surprise, it's based on War Dawn. It's based on the War Dawn episode where the Aerialbots go back in time. And I guess being the year of Aerialbots, that makes all the sense in the world. This also makes it a little bit more, like, obvious why they decided to do, like, the 2-pack Alpha Trion and Orion Pax set. And why he was inaccurate. In that set, he had the long beard. Even though that was in the past when he was repairing Optimus Prime. This is the one that should go with that Orion Pax. This is the one that actually suits it. So now we have this version, which is actually really cool. Also, so this one, this is one of the alt modes originally intended for Alpha Trion. They mentioned that on stream. The problem is, in the original G1, I don't think he ever had an alt mode that was officially designed for him, because he was never intended to transform. This is Casey Collar's version of the alt mode. So, kind of cool. Kind of cool that they're doing that version, giving it, actually letting it see the light of day. The man better get a free toy for his contribution that they just, aped from him. Still, cool that it's a dedicated Alpha Trion and it's not just a retool of somebody else. That's kind of cool. Even though, like, I can see his head peeking out from the back, like he still has a little bit of that Scourge DNA in him. He does carry the Covenant of Primus and the Quill as his artifact. The neat thing about this is, one, there's multiple pages to the book, which is attention they didn't need to pay into it. But also there are little Easter eggs hidden in the book. Like, we've already seen a message of Till All Are One in Cybertronian. That's super cool to do. Makes me wonder what's on the other pages. He also does this, where the Autobot sigil actually pops out to where he can hold it on its own, because he did that in the G1 cartoon in his younger phase, but not this one. Not this one. The version that did this was A3, the earliest time when we saw him during the original revolts of Cybertron. And that was, what was the episode title? Okay, this is going to bug me. Forever is a long time coming. Yeah, it's that episode. Yeah, so they're kind of crossing the streams a little bit. So it's something that Alpha Trion can do, but not this version of Alpha Trion. Still neat they threw it in as an Easter egg. So yeah, it's interesting, right? Right, and very obvious that we're going to see a multi-pack down the line with probably another Orion Pax that actually does this guy with, like, the long beard and everything. We had another look at Onyx Prime, but we've seen this guy plenty of times now, so they're really just, like, showing him off again because now he actually has a slated release date within this year. So cool, looking forward to it. Looks super cool. Now that's individual releases out of the way. They also announced two packs, actually three multi-packs, two packs and one multi-pack. So we'll go in on those. First are the Amazon exclusives, starting with another Mayhem versus Wrecker pack. Slugslinger versus Sandstorm. This is a way of getting that Slugslinger figure out again now that his aftermarket is crazy, which is good of them to do. He's a lot darker in colors now. So, going more, I believe, more cartoon accurate with that. And then Sandstorm has some deco adjustments, but the big thing is he has his animation head rather than the toy accurate head. We don't know, they didn't mention it on stream, if they fixed the torso issue a lot of people were having with the mold or not, so fingers crossed. Yeah, and then they look fine. They did make mention that Misfire is another one of those that has a ridiculous ridiculously expensive aftermarket price. So they would like to get that toy out again for everyone who missed it the first time. It's just a trick to figure out how, because that toy, he wasn't in the Mayhem. He wasn't in the Mayhem attack squad. He wasn't really part of any like group. So like even multi-packing him gets difficult. So it's just a matter of finding the right space to get Misfire out there. But they're still working on it, which is good to hear. Now, they did the Revenge of the Fallen Autobot pack, which means they also announced the Revenge of the Fallen Decepticon pack. Now, I will admit, I actually like Murder Arm Megatron. I kind of like that design. I don't know why. And I wouldn't mind having that figure out of this pack because, like you see in the vehicle mode on this shot, the deco on it's insane. It actually looks really, really cool. This is one of the rare times I would actually make an exception for a movie design because I just happen to like it a lot. But those molds, they had to pack into it. Oh, man. I am not crazy about that Fallen mold. I am just not. And I think that Soundwave, the satellite Soundwave, is one of the worst toys they have made in years. I'm staring at the recently released Studio Series Hatchet. If I'm going to find a comparison, but at least Hatchet's vehicle mode looks like something. Yeah, the decos are nice, but I think it's one good toy just lumped in with a couple of should-have-been betters. So that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But I know there's going to be live-action fans and Revenge of the Fallen fans that will eat this one up and make our way toward the next multi-pack, which will inevitably include the Wreckers from the live-action movies, like all the NASCARs. Kept trying to go Indy. No, they weren't Indy cars. No, that's wrong. And to finish it off, there's one more 2-pack, and this was the one that actually excited me, and I was actually worried about it exciting me, and that is the G2 Dinobots. It's a $110 2-pack, which is a little bit rough. Also worth mentioning, Slug here does not include his little ride-along buddy. There's no minifigure attached to him. So I did cave and get the G2 Grimlock because I happened to spot it very early in its release. And that's my Grimlock from childhood. My Grimlock growing up was blue. So I hit my nostalgia really hard to see it. I do have an affinity toward the Red Snarl. I've told the story on stream before. I can say it again really quick. I had that toy as a kid. A friend of mine borrowed the toy because he wanted to play with it. I got it back like a week later with the one of the legs permanently glued into Dino mode because he broke the toy. And rather than own up to it and do the responsible parent thing of paying for a replacement, she just glued the leg back in place, permanently destroying the toy in the process, by the way, and gave it back to me. I'm still not over that. I do have a new one. I did go back and get that toy again. I can look to my left and I can see it on a shelf. So I do have a connection to that one. Never had the green slug, though. Despite me being obsessed with green as a kid, I never went for that slug. I do have one now. It's kind of a mess, kind of a wreck, but it exists in my collection somewhere. But yeah, the nostalgia toward that Snarl is pushing me to pre-order this pack as a just in case money's good at the time when it releases. And then they did confirm on stream, and I'm actually surprised they did this. They confirmed that the other two are on the way next year, which surprised me because there really isn't a reason to do them. They mentioned on streams, like, how are we going to start on Dinobots and not finish them? Because, and me and my brain going, because the other two technically don't exist. The only reason we know of those two is because of recovered artwork from weird happenstances. But they did confirm that Sludge and Swoop are coming out. I absolutely want Swoop in green. That green actually hits me harder than this green. So I guess I'm gonna have the Sentai Dinobots. I guess I just am. But that's pretty much your lot. No 86 Megatron, no 86 Constructicons. They did mention that they were going to have more Studio Series reveals later, and then, of course, San Diego Comic-Con is coming up. They're going to have releases there as well. I wouldn't be surprised if 86 Megatron wasn't their like big showcase piece for SDCC, even though Takara's already shown it off, and leakers have already shown it in depth. But it is what it is. It's not their fault all this stuff got out early. So, that's all the new stuff. There's a lot of really, really cool stuff on the way. A lot of it that took us out of, like, a lot that was surprising. Young Alpha Trion, surprising. Like a Red Alert retool into Flatline, surprising. Vannon not being a retool, surprising. That Micronus is crazy. That Micronus is one of the wilder things I've seen Hasbro do in a long time, and I think it's one of the things they need to do more often. So, those are my thoughts. That is everything. Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of all the new stuff. And as always, I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.